Hey guys, Spirit of the Lie here. In this video, we're going to compare the various scouting units in Age of Empires 2. Now, I've actually looked into this topic in 2016, but there's been some notable changes to the Eagle Scout since then. And there's also the brand new Camel Scout recently added with the Gurjars, so I figured it could use an update. I'm going to be comparing the units in three main categories: scouting ability, which is just how quickly they uncover the map, combat ability in both Dark and Feudal Age, as well as how upgrading and bonus damage with the Camel Rider work, and finally briefly touch on their Boar luring ability. So with that, let's get started with their scouting. This really comes down to two factors: the diameter of their line of sight and how quickly they move. While their line of sight is approximately a circle, over the long run what they're uncovering is more like a rectangle, albeit maybe a snaking one, but figuring out how quickly they're uncovering the map is a very simple calculation. For line of sight in Dark Age, something you may have noticed before is the Eagle Scout has a slightly larger diameter than the mounted scouts by one tile in every direction. Why someone standing on the ground would have more sight than someone mounted, I'm not quite sure, but maybe they're just eagle-eyed individuals. At the same time, they move about 8% slower, and when you combine those things, it turns out Eagle Scout a little over 12 tiles per second, while Camels and Scout Cavalry uncover a little under 11. I should point out this is different in Definitive Edition than in previous versions, where Eagles had one more range than they do now, putting their scouting at over 14 tiles per second. So while they're still the best, it's not by the same margin that they were before. Of course, always the exception, you have to remember the Mongols, who with their team bonus actually have technically the best scout at over 15 tiles per second. Now, confusingly, a lot of things automatically change in Feudal Age behind the scenes. First of all, Eagles gain even more line of sight in every direction, going from an 11 to 17 tile diameter. The Scout Cavalry and Camel also gain some line of sight, though Camels benefit a bit less, as they're limited to the Camel Rider's line of sight in Castle Age. Something else you may have noticed before is your mounted units move about 30% faster as soon as you hit Feudal Age. Again, Scout Cavalry benefit a little more from this than Camels, and if we crunch the numbers, it turns out that the Scout Cavalry is now the best at revealing the map, followed by the Eagle Scout, with Camels doing the worst. Of course, Mongols shatter the competition with over 26 tiles per second revealed in Feudal Age compared to about 20 for the generic version. Altogether, in terms of scouting ability, if we ignore Mongols, who are the clear number one, it seems Eagle Scouts are the best in Dark Age, giving American civs a passive advantage, with the Scout Cavalry taking the lead in Feudal, meaning so far Camels are looking the worst. But now let's switch to their combat ability. There's no way to separate the fact that the Gurjars are the only Camel Scout civ and have plus 50% bonus damage, so essentially that becomes a feature tied to the unit that needs to be considered. That said, there's actually no bonus damage in Dark Age for any of these units. You can see their stats vary quite a bit in terms of attack and HP, with the Camel standing out as having especially high health but very low damage. Having them all fight each other head to head, the result is that Eagle Warriors are strictly the best in Dark Age, with about 30% HP left against either mounted unit. For their part, Scouts and Camels are basically even, though the Camel actually takes one more hit if you crunch the numbers. So if they both go in with full health, the Camel Scout should win every time, with either 1 or 4 HP left. Again, just to emphasize the point, despite being a Camel versus Horse matchup, there is no bonus damage at play here. Given their extra HP, you might expect Camels would also excel against Town Center Fire, but they actually have the lowest Pierce Armor, and Town Centers also have a hidden 1 extra damage against Camels. In practice, despite their high health, they actually hold it the worst to Town Center Fire, and Eagles end up being the best, though their slower speed can give them trouble actually dodging arrows. Also worth noting is that in Dark Age, only the Eagle Warrior can actually beat a villager with Loom one-on-one, and the Camel Scout does the worst considering the villager's 1 armor negates half of its attack. Moving on to their combat ability in Feudal Age, things again get quite a bit more complicated. Both Cavalry and Camels gain plus 2 attack automatically, whereas the combat ability of the Eagle Scout is unchanged. The Camel also gains bonus damage against Cavalry, enhanced by the Gurjar's bonus, so they do 10 damage to Scout Cavalry, while Scout Cavalry only do 5 in return. For its part, the Eagle Scout still has no bonus damage against Cavalry, and I think this is a point of some confusion. They actually don't gain anti-cavalry bonus damage until they reach Castle Age. Trying all of the different matchups, the results almost completely flip in Feudal, with Camel Scouts now being by far the best and Eagle Warriors the weakest. While in Feudal Age, Camels may be the worst scouters, you can see they have a consistent combat edge over the others, at least head to head. Against villagers, arguably the Scout Cavalry is the best, since its greater attack means the villager is picked off faster, though the Camel ends with more HP, so you could also make an argument for them. Also, just a quick point, in Castle Age they upgrade automatically to Camel Riders, more than doubling their bonus versus Cavalry and increasing their HP and base attack. While they're much more expensive to train than the others in Feudal Age, the point is they turn into a solid Castle Age unit the moment you advance. Altogether, for combat, Dark Age really goes to the Eagles, but in Feudal Age it goes to Cavalry, especially the Gujaris Camel Scout. And finally, the last category we'll look at is Boar stealing, or luring if you're on a map like Islands where you don't care about your scout's HP. Here, the fact that Eagles move slower is actually a bit of an advantage, since you don't have to weave as much to keep the boar following you and staying in its line of sight. The trade-off is scouts can more easily chase them down and try to interfere with Eagles, but I still think the slower speed for at least casual players makes it much easier to pull off. Interestingly, some bonus damage has also been worked out behind the scenes, so they all take 5 hits from a boar in Dark Age as well, making things fair in that respect, and the camel's extra HP doesn't actually give them a leg up. So to put it all together, in answering who has the best scout, by design I don't think there's a clear winner in all situations. After Mongol Scout Cavalry, the Eagle Warrior is arguably the next best, as it's better than the generic scout line at revealing the map and leads in combat ability in Dark Age, though it pretty clearly falls behind in Feudal. As for the new Camel Scout, it's very similar to the Scout Cavalry in Dark Age, though it should win one-on-one fights against that unit, later turning into the best fighter but worse scouter in Feudal Age. That'll do it for this one though, and hopefully that helps put the unit's differences into a bit better perspective. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.